Part of what I also think we've got to look at is the 2/3 of people who were eligible to vote and just didn't vote. One of the things that I'm very proud of in 2008 and 2012, when I ran for office, was we got people involved who hadn't been involved before. We got folks to vote who hadn't voted before. And sustaining that, especially in midterms elections, has proven difficult.
The president talking about the 2/3 of people who didn't vote, which he mentioned in the sort of opening part, so sort of aside, I couldn't tell if it was like throwing shade at the Republicans to say like you don't really have a mandate, or throwing shade at the people that didn't vote, say why didn't you vote? But this is this fundamental thing we got now, right? The two electorates, right? There's the midterm electorate, the presidential electorate, and they elect very different people. They look very different. We have the one is young, one is younger and less white. That's the presidential electorates. One's older and whiter. That's the midterm, and we get the results. And I think one theory for that, this is a great chart, right? 6-year-old or under 30, 37% of the electorate was 6 year older. Part of that is that what are you giving people in those marginal places, tangibly is that's going to happen.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I think, and this is part of a genre of response to losing an election that I think is very dangerous, where you come up with theories other than our policies were rejected by the electorate. Republicans are the kings of doing this. It's always after every election, well, if we'd nominated a true conservative, we would have won. Democrats are going to have to run in a midterm election every 4 years. And political engagement is always, I think, going to be higher among people who are older, people who are wealthier. And so you have to find a way to win elections in that environment. You can change turnout at the margins, but that overall dynamic where the
there is a question, though, is can you structurally, here's what I would say. People used to say that about the presidentials, and something was unlocked by the Obama campaign in 2008 and 2012 that really did change who showed up to vote in a way that hadn't been the case before. And so the question is, can you do the same?
But it was a formidable coalition, but precarious, right? I mean, this rising American electorate, we see how precarious it is. Young people, I mean, what have they confronted in the last 2 years? Now, the fact that the student debt is higher, that they're not getting relief, that they don't feel their problems are being addressed, single women not turning out in the same rate, and African Americans turning out.
They did turn out.
They did turn out. But the fact that I haven't seen good studies of voter suppression yet. There's more evidence coming out in some places. But the fact that we're not in this country trying to, as you said, register, make it easier to vote.
Offensive on voting.
And
I think
that's true. So the Democrats could be as in favor of opening access to franchise as Republicans have been in destroying
the civil rights struggle.
But remember what happened after the 2008 election? The Obama campaign organization was essentially demobilized, right? There was an explicit decision to shut it down.
That is, I think, it's more complicated than that being true. But let me just say.
I mean, all right. So, but then the second thing is those annoying emails from the DNC every day didn't help things, right? But third,
they send them for a reason.
Political organizations have to figure out a way to engage people every day, every week, beyond cycles. It cannot be about electoral cycles. It has to be about what are the issues in people's lives that keep them engaged.
Here's the thing that blew my mind. North Carolina, 2010, 2.7 million people come out. 2014, 17,000 more people come out, okay?
Now, that's movement building.
That's movement building, but that's also not that many. Like, given the amount of movement building that happened in North Carolina, the amount of mobilization, the amount of money, it just shows it's very hard. This goes to Josh's point. Getting people to change behavior is very hard, much harder than it looks, I think, a lot of times to writers and commentators who look at politics. Josh Barrow, Katrina Van Hool, and Doreen Warren. Thank you. That is all in for this evening. The Rachel Maddow Show starts right now. Good evening, Rachel.
Good evening, Chris. Last night was a ton of fun.
Great job last night. I thought you were fantastic.
You too. Thanks, man. Oh, mutual appreciation. All right.